We are just 132 subs away from 10,500 here on the Ohio State Football Report. You want more free OSU videos, even with a while to go till fall camp? We got you covered. Hit that sub button right now. We'll get more recruiting stuff and maybe the occasional outlying transfer portal update later on. But I want to focus today's show on some NCAA rule changes. Yes, they still have rules in the NCAA, at least for now. I think the vast majority of these should be viewed as a good news for the Ohio State Buckeyes and really most of college football. You know, like Mike Leach once said, the rule book is way too big, and they're kind of trimming the fat, so to speak. One thing they are changing that directly impacted the Buckeyes last year is that 12th man loophole. No more Oregon nonsense and ticking seconds off the clock. That loophole has been shut. Chris Vannini, I think, did a really good job of explaining all the rule changes without the legalese BS that you sometimes have with some of these. Here's what he wrote on this rule change. If a defense goes through a play in the final 2 minutes with 12 players, it will be the 5-yard penalty, and the offense gets the option to reset the game clock. This is the codified resolution to Oregon fielding 12 players on the last second play of its game against OSU in October, which ran 4 seconds off the clock for just a 5-yard penalty. If the 12th player is attempting to leave the field at the time of the snap, the defense will only receive a 5-yard penalty. So this just basically closes the loophole of actively on purpose putting 12 men on the field. You're not going to get double penalized if you just do the normal accidental 12-man and he's trying to sprint off the field and the opposing team gets that snap off in time. I think this feels like a fair rule. You're not doubling up on the regular 12-man penalty. You're just specifically eliminating the loophole of taking the 5 yards and then just trying to bleed extra seconds off the clock there. Of course, in the end, Ohio State got their revenge. They were able to still take down Oregon and end up winning the national championship as well. Now, I want honest answers here. Do you blame that rule? Or is it just the way the game went in the end? You think that rule cost Ohio State the first Oregon game and the first Oregon win, which maybe would have had a weird butterfly effect on the entire national championship run? Get those answers in for me, honestly, in the comments. Y for yes and N for no. Next up, there is a new injury timeout rule, which I do wonder if this goes far enough here. But again, what The Athletic explained the rule as. The new injury timeout rule will cost a team one of its 3 timeouts per half if a player goes down due to injury after the ball is spotted for the next play and medical personnel enter the field. If a team is out of timeouts, it will get a 5-yard penalty for delay of game. And as Chris points out here, faked injuries have become a tactic to slow down an offense's momentum, and the practice got so much attention that Greg Sankey, the SEC commissioner, sent a letter to a number of schools last fall about the issue. The Rules Committee said that the most egregious violations have occurred in the period after the ball is spotted for the next play. Big note here. This is not going to apply to players who are struggling to get to the next play, like they're limping around out there and they're trying to get off the field and they can't make it, or they struggle and something goes down there. It's just for those obvious ones, like they're getting set up and then my hamstring, and they fall down. Like that stuff is not gonna be allowed to fly anymore. And I don't want it to be a part of the game. It's it's a disgusting act, right? Like come on, quit. Player goes down for one play, boom, back in there. My biggest concern here is, can the referees properly identify this? Can they properly spot things in the order they need to? Can they react in the moment to go, yep, that one's real, that one's fake? I still wonder if this rule goes far enough, because I think this needs to be eliminated from the sport altogether. The American Football Coaches Association had a different proposal, that any player who went down with an injury be required to sit out the rest of the drive. Now, this is not happening. The main concern was players who were actually injured would try to play through it, but I think that's actually a good thing. Like, if you are not able to play, then you should go out for safety reasons. Or you're faking it. Like, rest of the drive, you are out. If you're cramping up there, it's too bad, man. Should have had more pickle juice in the middle of the game. This is what I would do. If you go down with an injury, you're done for the drive. You can come back in afterwards. That's going to get teams to stop having this nonsense of, we're going to fake an injury and slow things down. I don't want that anymore. Get it out of the game. Now, the national championship gear is still available for the Ohio State Buckeyes. T-shirts, hats, hoodies, and more to celebrate the Buckeyes' latest national championship. Link will be in the comment section and the description of today's show, the clickable icon over there in the corner as well. Chatsports.com/OSU champs. That's chatsports.com/OSU champs. So I do like the black and the gold. It'll work great for some of those colder October, November games. Another good one, the overtime timeout rules have changed because we all remember the Georgia Tech game, right? Here's what Heather Dinich over at ESPN wrote. The panel on Wednesday also approved a rule change regarding overtime timeouts. If a game gets to a third overtime, each team gets one timeout beginning with the third overtime until somebody wins. Previously, every team had one timeout. So at the start of the third overtime, teams will alternate 2-point plays until there is a winner, and there's one timeout that you are able to use. Again, I like this rule. I think we all remember that Georgia Tech game. It was just line up, timeout, line up, timeout, line up, stop it. We don't need that. You don't need a timeout before every play. I get that there's benefits to doing it, but for your team, just take it away. Make it to be used strategically. Speed it up. Overtime is supposed to be fun. It's not fun when it turns into the end stage of a college basketball or really any basketball game where it's, 30 seconds, bleed clock. Foul, free throws, TV time. I don't want that. It's not entertaining. You get to overtime, it's supposed to be exciting. Don't suck the energy out of it by calling 18 timeouts. Like, the one is all you need. So do you agree with me and you like the new overtime rule changes? A for yes, B for no. Let me know in the comment section of today's show. Another rule change is turning the unwritten rule into an actual rule. On kickoffs when the return man's back there and he goes like this and watches the ball go over his head, he does that T-pose. That is now officially a dead ball. It is the same thing as a fair catch being called. This is to avoid the Shane Beamer, Brett Bielema fight that happened last year, which now it's a rule. Now you can't do it. You can't do the T-pose and then catch a ball and field it. It's no different than putting your arm up and calling the fair catch. I don't really care about this one. It is now just the previous call is upheld after a review. It is no longer confirmed/stands. Which, it was last time it was confirmed. It was very obvious it was the thing. Stands meant it's just going to stay the same. We can't prove things either way. Apparently fans were confused, but whatever. No new changes to the targeting rule, which I don't know. I would like them to. Sometimes I think they need to. I don't think it's a change of the rule. I think it's a change of the application. I'm remembering that. I think it was the Florida game where the Florida player hit a guy in the butt and they called him for targeting, which did not make any sense to me because the guy was above him. Of course, he hit him with the crown of his helmet. That's the only way to. He tackled him properly with form. Like, that one pissed me off. But I don't know how you change that and just be like, use common sense. Like, that's clearly not targeting unless they want to just make it a upper body only, which they should. I don't know. There were 0.14 targeting penalties enforced per game this year. That is the lowest average since the rule went into place, which I interpret as, hey, it's working. There are not nearly as many targeting penalties and not as much headhunting, which, I don't think 20-year-olds should be taking a bunch of concussions if you can find a way to avoid it. Call me crazy. That is the end of today's show. We will talk more about the Buckeyes roster, portal maybe, recruiting. Plenty of that buzz coming here. If you got to the end of the video, we appreciate you. Show up by liking today's show.